Hello everyone and welcome to Linköping, where we today will talk about big data and network science, and from different angles attack these questions and try to find some interesting perspectives and facts, I hope. And to my help I have three very interesting people, Erik, Ingrid, and we have also Andreas from Telenor. Let's start with you, Andreas. Hello, Andreas.
Hi.
If you do your own presentation so we get it right, what's the short pitch? What are you doing, Andreas?
Absolutely. So I'm head of IoT and business development in the B2B sector. So focusing on new revenue streams and new opportunities for the operator industry, more or less.
Okay, great. And Ingrid?
So my background is using visual methods to help people to understand data.
Yeah, and you are at the...
Oh, I'm in Norrköping at
You don't know where?
I know where I am for sure. It's Linköping University, but we are also affiliated to the Visualization Center and Environment in Norrköping, I think, which is also important. I was just wondering where to start.
Erik?
Yeah, so I'm Erik Larsson. I teach here at Linköping. I am a professor in the EE department, Institutionen för systemteknik in Swedish.
Yeah, great. And since we are at the university here in Linköping, but I'm curious about Telenor when it comes to big data, because you're not like Spotify. You gather all the data and create. You are passing it through, since you're that kind of company. Tell us, what are your angle? How do you work from a big data perspective and a network perspective, Andreas?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there are different angles when it comes to the operator. In one instance, we work a lot with big data when it comes to network monitor analysis and so on, to monitor the networks and also getting the networks to heal themselves. And that will be even more evident when we move into 5G networks. So there will be self-healing possibilities in the network infrastructure. So we use a lot of big data when it comes to network infrastructure. Then, of course, we have a big customer set of data, which we are tightly regulated compared to like healthcare and other industries. We are really tightly regulated. So we have strict processes how to handle data. But then we also have a lot of customers out there connecting IoT devices and so on, and there we are part of the connectivity stream, but also having platforms utilizing what to do about this data that is collected. So I think from an operator perspective, it's moving into 5G. This will converge into so much opportunities, and also moving the processing power from central data centers to edge data centers and so on will change the industry, I think.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, are you actually helping your customers with business models, helping them to understand the possibilities that you're talking about, since you're not gathering it on your own, but do you need to help them to get on board what they can do with all the data?
Absolutely, and I think that is more or less what we do. We do the transport, but the value is in the data. So the data is all that matters, more or less. And if we look at most industries now, they're going from selling products to selling services. And to be successful in selling services, you need to know what the customer wants. So if you're selling robotic lawn mowers, like one of our biggest customers, Husqvarna, is doing, it's all about collecting data to really see what the customer wants now and in the future. And if you are selling cars, you more and more want to go into a service model instead of selling just the car. So data is always a topic when we meet customers.
Yeah, and we have some kind of we all need to get on board and see the possibilities here. And you talk about the you working together with the customers. I'm thinking, Ingrid, your way of making visual understanding of data, can this help? Now you're talking much of research for the universities and that kind of areas. But could your techniques be helpful for companies seeing the business opportunities?
To a certain level, certainly yes. For sure, as I mentioned before, so I think it's always important to adapt the methods to the specific needs. And this has not been my focus area so far, but we will always find some opportunities to apply our methods.
Andreas, are you working with some kind of visual presentations to show the customers these opportunities? Do you need that kind of techniques?
Absolutely, and we work with several partners when it comes to visualization of data. But in most cases, our customers, they see us as part of the infrastructure. So we provide connectivity and we provide platforms where you can work with the data. But then the customers, in most cases, lay their own user interface or providing the data visualized in an app or so on. But absolutely, we have visualization of big data. Absolutely.
And since you're sending data between different parts, mainly in Sweden, I believe. But how do you? And we talk about the from a global perspective, we have the importance of keeping it safe, and we don't want the in data to go through the. Other countries we don't know have the control. How do you work from a security perspective to secure the data for your customers?
Yeah, and we always store the data within the Swedish boundaries, and we are tightly regulated, and that will increase even more when moving into 5G with new security regulations. So we have all the data secured in Sweden, but when talking to customers, there is a lot of discussion with the hyperscalers and the really big clouds of the world, but there is also a discussion when it comes to public authorities and so on about storage, the data, having the storage in Sweden and building sovereign clouds more or less. So that is of course a really interesting topic that we will investigate further, and we have really good dialogues already today with customers keeping data safe in Sweden within the Swedish borders. So that is, I would say, a topic that has been more and more relevant over the last 12 to 18 months, I would say. Before that, the discussion wasn't really there, but today it is.
Is this something that you come across? Or is
Absolutely.
it a total different area?
Absolutely. I mean, I think Andreas touched the topic, right, of privacy of the data and where the data resides. And I think the point is that, no matter what country the data resides, no matter how much regulation we impose, security breaks and leaks will happen, right? So what we need here is method development by which we can leverage the information that's present there in the data, but without the individual users revealing anything which is sensitive, right? I mean, for example, say the network tracks where we are because we carry a cell phone. And that information contains like coordinates, the path I walk, the road I drive. And now the network could easily discover, for example, that, well, I've been close to you for X number of hours at this occasion of the day and that occasion of the day and so forth. That data has a heck of a lot of information in it, right? Because it tells us something about the relation in between the two of us. It might tell us something of commercial value. It might tell us something of like personal relationship nature. It might tell us something of political associations, who knows? So what we need here, and what is also going on in the R&D, is to develop methods by which you can prove that you are or are not at some given location at the time of day, but without revealing to the network what your actual coordinate is. I mean, it sounds like a paradox, impossible, right? But these sort of things can be done. It's like it's an analog picture. Think of, that I'd like to prove to the rest of the world that this discussion here happened after the date of October 21st, 2021. How can I prove this? Well, I can bring a newspaper and I can show it in the picture. And there's just no way that I could have had this newspaper before the date of today. So, I mean, that's the way of thinking that we need to adopt here, I think. And these are the challenges that we need to be acutely aware of.
As a starting point, I'm just curious about the word big data, because we think about 1984, George Orwell. How frightening is this? Is it just opportunities, or what do you say? Or is it some kind of scary?
I wouldn't say it's scary. It's big opportunities, for sure. It's also a lot of challenges, but we are happy to approach these challenges.
Yeah, but when you say challenges, what are you thinking of that then?
It basically starts with the beginning. So the data has to be stored at least for a short time, and we are hitting sometimes the limits here already. I think this is a big issue.
And when you say limits, you mean?
So I think about storage limits. So it depends a little bit on what kind of data you are talking about. But if I talk about large-scale simulations, it's not possible to store the entire results of the simulations anymore. So you have to find kind of smart ways to find the interesting data at a very, very early stage to think about what we actually want to store, what do we want to keep. We cannot keep everything. So this is a big challenge. For sure, analysis is always a big challenge. Security, data quality. There are a lot of things that are somehow related to this. But
do you think are we focusing on these issues in the right way? Are we aware of these challenges?
I think we are aware, but if I talk about we, probably this is a research community. I'm not so sure how aware the general public is about where the challenges are and how to
do you think, is it important that the public are aware in the way that you are meaning?
In some aspects, yes. So they should sometimes make a conscious decision if they kind of give their data away.
But when it comes to we talk about big data, how and AI, of course. You cannot have AI without big data. Is that possible? I mean, in the perspective as we talk about it, the visions about AI, does that need a world of big data?
I would say yes. The methods need data to learn, to train, to use, and I think this is the value of it.
At least the modern AI, right, is a lot, to a large extent, data-driven. So it learns from data, and that data is big.
Yeah.
But if we have a kind of subject that all are very well, it will affect us all, and it does. I'm talking about the sustainability perspective. In what way, and the climate discussion and challenges, in what way could AI and big data be part of solutions? I don't know if that might not be what you're working on, but I'm interested in,
but for
your
sure,
perspective.
The most obvious thing is for sure that we are running large-scale simulation, develop novel materials, we are developing novel ways of transportation, we are developing climate models that we can use for prediction. So this is one side, but I think also something that you are more concerned about is kind of the communication, which can help saving a lot of energy, and if you're doing it in a smart way.
Erik?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you could track every person or every vehicle on the planet, then you could optimize a lot, right? Like traffic flows on the road, for example, to avoid congestions and so forth, just to make society operate, let's say, more efficient or energy efficient in particular.
So if the word network science, how would you describe that?
So
and what are you into?
Yeah, so network science is really about how things are connected and how things interact, right? And things that could be people, like in a social network, could be computers on the World Wide Web or the internet, could be pretty much anything where objects have connections to other objects. And I think, do you want to fill in on that, Ingrid?
I just agree so far. So
yeah, social networks, email networks,
but
food webs,
complex
gas pipelines,
complex networks and communication networks. Are they the same?
No, not really. I mean, a communication network is an instance of, let's say, a complex network, right? Where well, the nodes that interact in the communication network might be routers on the internet or cell phones or something. But in network science, what we're interested in is really the connections between the objects and how to mathematically, let's say, describe these connections and interactions, right? And how to learn these connections and interactions from data, which in, well, the typical case would be big data. So looking at huge amount of data, figuring out how are these individuals connected, who knows whom, which computer talks to whom or to which other computer, and so forth. So that's, I think, really how I would describe network science.
A final question for you, Andreas. We talked about edge computing, base stations, gathering the information, the data closer to where the data got summoned or collected. What will Telenor's customers be able to do in the future that they are not being able to do at the moment? What are your visions?
I think there are a few different angles of this. I think if you look at Netflix in the early days, all the storage was on US servers, and you had to go from your house or apartment in Sweden to a central node in Sweden and then over the Atlantic and then get the movie. That took a few seconds perhaps from the early start. Now they have like regional data centers, perhaps 1 or 2 or 3 in Sweden, hosted by one of the big hyperscalers. But looking at the geography, it's like 30 to 40, 300 to 400 kilometers to the nearest data center overall in Sweden, one of the big ones. But you have like 2-3 kilometers to the nearest base station. So if we could process data further out in the mobile networks, that would reduce energy consumption. That would increase latency or decrease latency, but enhance the experience. So you could get round-trip delays it's much lower. But I think you can do it in a more secure way, and you can do it in a more efficient way when it comes to energy consumption. I think that is really also crucial for the future, that we can process data further out, so reducing the energy consumption in the internet infrastructure overall. But then on the other hand, if you look at the industry sector, we believe today you have to build robotic systems and so on with a lot of processor capacity in each robot. We think that with edge solutions, you can use one processing power and have cheaper robots on each floor. So you could perhaps use one processing unit and have like 10 different robots utilizing the same one. So that is another part of like what we believe will be big in edge compute. And this will be an ecosystem play. This is not something that we as an operator can do ourselves. So we are part of ecosystems together with big manufacturers, universities like Linköping, BTH, KTH, and so on. Lund, we have worked closely with Lund when it comes to 5G and so on. So this is an ecosystem play, and we have a lot to learn. We don't have all the answers, but we see a really exciting future when it comes to connectivity and big data processing.
We have all the challenges, we have all the opportunities. We need the wise politicians and academians to help us thinking as a planet, as a society. In what way do you think visualization is important to present the right information for these? I believe you think it's essential, but is it necessary to be able to get that wisdom out of the people?
I think visualization should play an important role to get a better understanding what AI is actually doing. So because in many cases, decisions are black box decisions, and it's really hard to track back where these are coming from. And the big efforts in the area of visualization to try to open this black box and to get a little bit better understanding what's actually happening behind the scenes. And sometimes it's very interesting where the machine is focusing on. It's very far away from how we would react as a human being and looking at an image. And I think on the one hand side, we can learn something ourselves, probably figuring out this is also important, but probably also it gives us the possibility to change gears a little bit. And so my understanding as somebody who is dealing with visualization, I think visualization is incredibly essential to bring together these things, get an understanding, and also support each other.
Do you, Erik, from your perspective, because we're not all experts in these fields, we need tools, we need help to understand, and we need people who are not actually in this area to decide these, because they have to take care of many different issues, like politicians, but see the possibilities, but also the threats. Do you think the visualization will be the crucial for getting the right getting the future in the right direction?
Absolutely. I mean, in the end, I think a lot of this is about conveying to humans, right? Structure in the example here, I think structure in the data, but more generally structure in technical systems and society in general, and getting humans to understand the things happens either through the eyes or the ears, and sometimes because you feel things, right? But the let's say largest bandwidth you have is always through the eyes. So visualization certainly is a key technology here, I think.
We talk about the companies here. We talk about building new businesses, and from my perspective, I believe there will be big changes of how we work, and there will be we need new jobs and professions. Some will we will get rid of or lose, because that's what's happening when society develops. But seeing possibilities here for new businesses, for new ways of delivering services. How can big data, Andreas is touching it, from your perspective, how important is big data to be able to develop new services within society, new companies? Any thoughts?
I think it's highly important. I mean, if we look at, for example, in network science, right, and social networks, then there are all these apps that have been immensely successful. LinkedIn, Facebook, Spotify, which is actually a Swedish company, right? You name it. And these are all built on the understanding and exploitation of concepts in big data and network science. And we need a competence build-up here, I think, in Sweden. I mean, we don't want all of this to happen on the US West Coast. We want it to happen here. So students, come study network science.
Good pitch there. We're talking about edge computing and the base stations to keeping it closer to where we collect the data. Are there business opportunities that comes from that, you see? I know it's not your area, but I think it's interesting to hear and do it.
I think there are a lot of different possibilities how you can exploit data and so on. But sometimes I think the focus is too much on that. And
on what?
On just exploiting data. And sometimes we can reach similar goals with going a step back also and try, at least for some moments, to leave the
and
data outside.
We don't need any more data.
No, this is definitely not what I'm saying. But I think...
Going back, no, we don't need... I heard Ingrid say that. We don't need any more data.
No, I didn't say that. But it's more like I would like to have, for me personally, even though I appreciate all these offers and these users, but everybody needs their data-free spaces where you can kind of withdraw. And,
when it comes to edge computing, the base stations, will there be totally changes just from that technology and 6G, because it will enable things that we can't do today?
Yeah, I think it's likely. I mean, and it's obviously difficult to predict exactly how technology will evolve. Not talking about 6G and perhaps, what will happen on like a 10-year horizon, right? But one thing that I believe we will see is that a lot of this intelligence that today lives in the cloud, in big data centers, or even on a different continent in some cases, that will be moved like closer to the end user, right? Some of it will be moved like into base stations you see on towers or access points you see like mounted on the wall here, or even cell phones that people carry around. So that's one trend. The technical term is distributed intelligence, where you really move like some of the things that, you know, some storage of the data and some processing of the data that used to happen like in the cloud or in the data center, you move that to the actual user and to the devices that you carry with you, right? And there are all sorts of advantages to that. One is privacy, because the more you can process in your like locally, the less you have to share with others, right? And share with data centers that might be located, you know, in places that you don't trust, or there might be, no matter, you know, regulation, no matter where they are located, there'll be leaks, right? So I think so. Maybe Ingrid, you want to comment?
No, I mostly agree. Yeah.
She's in a data-free zone at the moment.
Oh yeah.
So, for you two, what's your vision, just from your perspectives? Big data. What are you wishing for will happen? What could be the best future, Erik? Final words. What are your, if you are waking up with a good mood and have hopes for the future, and you talk about big data, what can you see in the future?
I certainly see, I mean, the development that we just entered will continue, right? And what I'm wishing for is that people, folks working on research and development, and users, I mean, the men on the street, right, will be more aware of privacy and security aspects.
Yeah.
In this context.
And if we are that, then we will have a good chance of getting this right.
I think so.
Yeah. Ingrid?
Other thing, wishes. So I think the big data will bring us a lot of advantages in the future. Just thinking about personalized medicine, that you get kind of your personal treatment. There exists your digital twin somewhere, which makes these predictions much easier. On the other hand side, getting access to all kind of data as information that is of interest to you. I think we already have that to a large extent, but I think this is thing that will further increase and we will appreciate.
So let's stop there. Thank you so much. Thank you, Andreas. Thank you, Ingrid. Thank you, Erik. And thanks all for participating. It's been very interesting. I hope you enjoyed a scattered discussion, but also thoughts to reflect upon. And I hope we will see each other some other time. So thanks for today.
Thank you.
Thank you.